into the light.
Pissing our pants yet?
Hey guys, Nick here, and today we're getting into part 26 of What If Dale Survived the Remake. Now, this episode will cover part 2 of the flashback within flashbacks to see how Dale, Carol, and Beth all survived, and how they're all heading to Father Gabriel's church to reconvene with the rest of Rick and all the people who managed to survive and, you know, meet along the way, Eastman and all that stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. It will be summed up in 15 minutes, and let's get into it. But before that, really quick, the subscribe universes thing is over. So now, I'm just going to be throwing in cool little gifts and everything to tell you guys, especially the new ones and the people who are not subscribed, to definitely do so right now. Because the channel and the stories are amazing, and you definitely do not want to miss out on them. With all that out of the way, let's get into it. After hearing all of what Dale has said, Glenn asks Amanda and the other officers, and of course any other people who would be in the area and in the hospital, to join them and Rick and everybody else. Amanda thinks on this, but before she can fully, or even admit an answer, Dale, being the very big listener and very sharp person that he is, sees a horde coming right towards them. A big one. Amanda and the other officers snap back into reality after thinking on their answer from Glenn and aim their guns and tell everybody to get out of there and that they will die for this place because they've already given almost everything they have to save Dale, but it was all worth it and they should leave now. But Dale said he already had to deal with one group in shambles. He's not about to let the hospital here suffer the same fate just because of Dawn, and agrees to help fight alongside. But after he shoots with the rifle a few times in one hand and then goes to shoot his shotgun, he shoots the shotgun, but this is his first time using his new appendage. And if you paid attention to the detailing, the wiring, and how Dale's shotgun is manufactured into his body, or rather onto his arm, he's not ready to use it yet and falls back straight after the shot, allowing a walker or more to try and pounce on him and kill him. But Dale already had experience with that back at Herschel's farm, and shoots the walker and kicks the walker's body and any other walker that would be in the way out of the way. And then he snaps back into reality and into focus, seeing more and more walkers approach, because this horde had been attracted by everything that had happened recently and was near Grady Memorial already. So, just when all seems hopeless for this band of people at Grady Memorial, a bunch of gunshots ring out from two people. Beth being one of them, and Carol being the second. After that, Amanda, seeing that these two people must be friends of theirs, or just two helpers in general, still knows that even with all of them working together, this horde's too humongous. They would waste away all their ammo. And she already told Dale that if he uses up all of his ammo in his shotgun, it will drain his life, make him completely, tired, and possibly kill him. So she tells him she doesn't care what happens to her or anybody here at the hospital. They need to go now. And Dale says, "Thank you for everything that you've done. You've truly made me a different person than I ever thought I'd be, and saved my life. And thank you for saving everybody else's." And with that, they all run off. Amanda and the rest of the hospital group being left to fight off the horde alone, but would ultimately be succumbed by it. Spoiler alert. That's it of all the flashback stuff. But wait, there's more! Because this is a 15-minute video, And we still haven't answered one question. How did Beth and Carol survive? Because I haven't mentioned them until last episode, and I still haven't gotten into that, and we're 5 minutes in, and I only said that they came to help. But how did they live? Well, that's what we're going to figure out right now, going back to Woodbury. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Those of you who didn't get there's going to be multiple flashbacks near the middle of the story. I'm doing it over and over again with Woodbury, right? Well, you guys will see here, and you guys probably already know, there's a method to my madness. I wouldn't do this just to make you guys, waste your time or show that there's no point in watching this. There's definitely a point. And them surviving, Beth and Carol, they ain't surviving this scot-free. Everyone else but Dale did, and Michonne, because she lost her arm, and Dale lost a hand with this new shotgun. And something else that I'll get into later that definitely will show that red eye twist. But Carol wakes up and sees destruction all around her. Not so much destruction, but just dead people after dead people. Everything is ruined. And she just mourns the loss of everybody, seeing bodies all over the ground. She sees Herschel. She sees just everyone that she had gotten to know, and then remembering T-Dog, because this was not too long after they had gotten to the prison and then gotten to the governor. This was very recent, mind you. It was just getting into season 4. But then she looks and sees Beth clinging to life with her eyes barely open. But she is moving, and she's not growling like a walker. Carol sees this as a vast opportunity. If she can't save or see anyone that she knows, and everyone is possibly dead, she has the chance to save Beth. And with all her strength, everything that she's got, she hoists Beth up and begins to walk and speed walk out of Woodbury as it is consumed by the dead. Or whatever dead would be getting there, because this is after Morgan had already got there. So they had gotten themselves to a house where Beth woke up sometime after their arrival there and looks around and wonders what happened to her. This is just the same after she got kidnapped in the original story. She doesn't know what's going on. And after she wakes up and sees Carol, she begins to ask what happened and is glad to see her, but where's everybody else? Carol, unfortunately, breaking down, says that as far as she's concerned, she saw her alive and managed to get her out. But every other person, as far as she knows, they're all dead. The governor was lucky to have not killed. They're lucky that they were not killed by the governor. And Beth, she doesn't believe that. Just like her original self when they left the prison and everything during that governor fight, she believes that they're alive. Carol says she wants to believe that too, but she saw bodies everywhere. And just the fact that she didn't see anyone but Beth means that, in all likelihood, they either got to sit here and wait to recover and maybe run into them, wait to recover and just find somewhere to stay, but they gotta wait in general. Beth, she really doesn't have a choice, because for one thing, she definitely needs to recover along with Carol, obviously, and she's making a valid point. 3 days later, Beth has recovered a lot more and is a lot more persistent that they go out and they find everybody else. They have to be alive. Carol still sticking to her gut that they have not seen any sort of sign besides a few walkers that any kind of life, and I'm talking real life, has come by or made any kind of presence known. If they had known that more people were alive, surely there would have been a telltale sign. But they are recovered now, so it's best to get out of this little damaged, burnt away home and just leave. Carol, after she says this, and they're getting ready to go, she hears something and looks out the window to see Glenn, Maggie, and several people, that of which being Megan, Mitch, and Tara, all running in a direction that she doesn't know what way that is yet. But she sees Glenn and Maggie, and even if they're with a few people she doesn't know, seeing them alive has just suddenly brought hope to her. She honestly is kind of laughing because she just said to Beth that they weren't going to find him, and then it just popped out of nowhere. Even she has to admit this poetic irony and says to Beth that Glenn and Maggie and several people just ran by towards a specific direction. They don't know we're here, and we don't know what they're running for. But Beth doesn't care, and they're like, who cares what they're running for? We gotta go after them. It's my sister and Glenn. We gotta go after them. And so they waste no time and they run after, and that's how we got there. And that ends the flashback. Literally, that's what happened. And now we get to Father Gabriel's church, where Rick has just heard the news, and everyone else has heard the news, that Daryl has said about Carol, Beth, and Dale all being alive. And Rick, after everything that's just happened, and Rick literally almost inches away from losing his humanity and just leaving off on his own before Daryl and them came back, this has given Rick a new sense of, purpose and resolve, definitely. If it weren't before, it was now, even if he has only Judith as true family. So, all they have to do is wait and see when they get here, or if they find them at all. 4 hours later, knocks begin to form on the door, or people start to knock on the door. I don't know why I keep messing up. People start to knock on the door of Father Gabriel's church. They open the doors, and Glenn, Maggie, Mitch, Tara, and Megan step forward first. Everyone there is glad to see him. Noah stepping out too. And Rick is definitely glad that they brought back who they were going to find and that they found them and explained the trouble that they've been through in small detail. But Glenn, after he sees that what has happened and everything, he knows himself, and even Rick pretty much implies and shows that he wants more than, to explain what's happened. And Glenn knows exactly what he's talking about. And Daryl runs forward, and Rick sees just what he wants to see. Beth and Carol being alive. And for those who survived and everything and knew them, this is a very great moment. And Daryl cared about Carol, obviously, so this would be great for him. And Beth, they weren't really together yet, so he would just be glad that she's alive. And Beth, Maggie, and Glenn would be glad to see each other as well, and being alive and everything like that. But Rick and everybody else who didn't know that Dale was alive turn their heads, hear a voice, and see a figure that they obviously knew was somehow alive, but are still very shocked to see. Dale Horvath, stepping in the doorway with a rifle cocked in one hand and a shotgun perching at where his other hand was. Now what will happen? Now the long part of the story is over. And that's where we leave things for the moment. Like I said, this is where the long part of the story officially ends, and where that huge plot line since Woodbury is finally off our backs. Granted, we still got a long ways to go, but it's not going to be as long with many of the parts now as it was to make this up until this point. So just know that we're still in for a heck of a ride, and I hope you guys enjoyed the end to that long plot line.